Good morning, everybody. This is Brandon from Galaxy Stock Market. Today is March 16th, 2025. It's about 9:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And what a week we had. And I wanted to specifically gear my video towards gold and silver bull market, which I believe is just on the verge of getting started. And so stay tuned, and we're going to be discussing about my technical analysis on the stock market. Will the relief rally hold, and what to do about it? And is the sell-off over? Here's the disclaimer. Please pause it, read it. If you agree, please move forward. And of course, my shameless plug on x.com/galaxy.market. I'm primarily posting there, and for whatever reason, I'm being shadow banned on YouTube, and so I know why it is, but I can't stop talking about certain things to make sure that everybody understands how to prepare for the markets. Here we go. Black swans are still swimming everywhere. There's tons of black swans. US dollar weakness continues. Gold at historic 3,000 plus levels. US bombs Yemen. Russia and Ukraine war is nowhere in sight. And of course, France, I forgot to put it here, is increasingly pushing for war. And, you always say, I always say, look at what they do, not what they say. Okay. And a little bit on the news front. And this is from Wall Street Mav, and that is that the gold reached $3,000 an ounce, and I've already talked about that, and that is a historical level, because if we can close the day above 3,000, I think we're slightly below there after pulling back from about 3,017-ish, is that gold is going to go to 3,500 in a blink of an eye. But so pay attention. But gold is telling you something, right? What do I mean by that? It's telling you that not everything is peachy. Things are not as good as people say it is, and things won't get better like Trump is saying all of a sudden. Okay, gold is telling you that there is significant dislocation in our monetary system, in the economic system, and that there is something that the people and the institutions are worried about that is coming down the road. Is it escalation of war? I mean, if you look around what's happening around us in the United States and in the world, up is down, down is up, everything is upside down. People are upset. People are fractionalized. There's still migration problems. It's just a whole slew of things. And if you start significantly by looking at the U.S. and the state of the government that it's in, and the state of just the chaos that it's in, and both sides claiming constitutional crisis, and people are becoming nastier and nastier, and so that's why gold is going higher, and gold is inversely proportional to the health of the markets. Okay. Gold going higher also means that the monetary regime set in by the fiat money system and by the central bankers, they're in serious trouble. And so it's a battle between the Trump administration, which is basically stirring up the whole world. It's like a bull in a China market, right? And it's just crashing through everything, and he doesn't really care. And that is what's happening. And also the Fed is losing a lot of credibility because, the inflationary numbers came out and they're beginning to show some signs of relief. We're far from it. There's a lot of inflationary pressure, but it seems like the Fed is pushing for inflation and Trump is trying to decrease inflation, if you can believe that. And now, I've been beating this to death, but here's the latest gold and silver short ratio, right? 131 paper, which is naked shorts, to 1 ounce of gold above ground, 409 paper to 1 ounce of silver above ground. Okay, gold and silver naked shorts are at all-time highs, and you saw a glimpse before they tried to slam it down. It didn't really work, but silver was about to break out above 35, and gold definitely hit 30.17 before settling back down right near, I don't know, like 2097-ish. Okay, if gold finishes above 3,000 and continues to move there, like I said, it is not impossible for gold to hit in the short term 3250 to about, here we go, 3250 to 3,500 potentially by end of this week to next Monday. Okay, not this coming Monday, but next Monday. Silver is like gold on steroids. Once it can break above 35, okay, and stay above there, okay. I think you're going to see in a blink of an eye, really quick rush to 45, and then I think it's possible for gold to hit about 75. Oops, I can't write, to $80, okay, in the next 2 to 3 weeks, okay, and it will happen overnight, folks. And simply because silver is the most manipulated asset in the world. I've been saying that for a while. Here's France, Macron, weird guy, okay? He's sending nuclear submarine to Halifax, Canada, not California, although California should be Canada. I'm not sure. But it basically, does France want war with the U.S.? It's posturing. While they're talking about peace, they're pushing for war. And you can clearly see what the globalist elites and these countries in EU really want. They don't want the war in Ukraine to end. And I'll just say that much. Okay, I won't say much more. Okay, so French President Macron, okay, again, look at what he does instead of what he says. He says Russia does not give impression of a country that wants peace. Okay. In the meantime, he's harping on war rhetoric, sending troops over there, sending nuclear submarines now to Canada. All right. When was the last time France ever started a war? They're good about doing that and finishing it. Well, history repeat here. I mean, it's like France has a long history and storied history of conflict with Russia, right? And, if he truly wants peace, we need to start addressing pragmatically why it is there is war in between Ukraine and Russia, and why it is that Zelensky continues to ask for money. Okay? If you want to find out more about that, follow me on my Twitter feeds. I can't mention it here. Okay? All right, so, after the crypto summit, Nothing Burger, the winds were taken out of the cryptos and it pulled back, and that was the opportunity for people to buy. Okay, and therefore, one thing is that it's becoming increasingly clear that XRP is the one. What do I mean by that? XRP being the one. Well, XRP and not Bitcoin will basically control the next monetary system and basically the currency. Okay, the value of the currency will be running on XRP through payments as well as assets. And so here's what they're talking about. Comprehensive proposal. This is by SEC, who continues to have lawsuit, has not been taken off, but the writing's on the wall. Any pullbacks on XRP you should be buying. And then you can't complain to me when it's at $100 later on in the year shortly that, it's too expensive. Well, here's your chance. It's like, it's below $3. Anything below $10 is cheap. Okay, not financial advice. You do your own work. But here's comprehensive proposal. XRP as a strategic financial asset for what? The U.S. They're not talking about Bitcoin. Okay, and yet why is the SEC lawsuit continuing? It's because I do not believe the U.S. banks and the central banks have not bought enough XRP to make this work. This is why it's being suppressed, and they don't want retail to have it. That means you. So let's look at the market technical picture really quick. We had a little relief bounce, and it may continue through this week. All it's going to be is if that keeps on giving. That means that you short these rips, but remember, you got to nibble and build positions over time. Okay, you can't just be going willy-nilly. All right, and the whole thing is that do you buy this dip? Or do you short the rips? We're still in a short the rips environment. And everyone's saying that, we're in extreme fear. Well, we kind of came off of the 20 level, right? We're still in extreme fear. Fear begets more fear. And in a bear market or in a market that's crashing, the market does not go down in a straight line. What do I mean by that? That means that at the top is last week's long-term SPY SPX SPY trend line. It's a monthly long-term trend line, and the whole spiel. It hits the top end, we start getting sell-off. But none of these areas did it go down in a straight line. And this is basically a monthly chart. A lot can happen in a month. It can go up and down. It may look bullish one week, but by the time you finish in a month, we should be continuing to go down. Okay, this is where we were at 575.92. We finished the week at 562.81. Yes, Friday's bounce. You could call it a relief bounce. It is not by all means all clear signal. And does that mean that basically that the market is going to resume selling off? No, I think that for a couple of days or to a week, I think we're going to be bouncing. Okay, so we need to have a longer term price and time if you're trading options. Okay, so relief, that's all that is. Relief bounce on Friday. Still going to be moving lower on our monthly long-term chart. And here is my super cycle analysis, and right on time, it basically came. I thought that we would go down a little bit more, but this is from last week, and I said, hey, look, it's beginning to bottom down here. We're beginning to move higher, and then we got it right here. Okay, so where's it going to go? Here's the ADMA. I think really it's going to test this 200-day moving average. It can go a little bit higher. So for those of you that want to scalp, the scalp has to be on the other side. However, there's black swans swimming everywhere. This could end in any moment. Safer thing to do is to let this thing bounce and let the super cycle analysis or the arcs determine where the time is almost running out. But we can do that with our pivot points, and we can do that with a McClellan summation index. Now, here's the thing. We talked about last week that the VIX, was stair-stepping higher. Well, we got a sell signal, and we basically started coming down. This is what I believe the pullback will be like. Can it pull back all the way to 19 and then start moving? Yeah. I mean, you've seen them do it. The problem is I think Fed is out of ammunition. They've lost all kinds of credibility. We'll talk more about that. But right now, we have a little bit more room to pull back. It's going to be a buy pullback and a buying opportunity for us to break above the number 30 right here, $30. Okay, so that's what we're dealing with on the VIX end. And then McClellan summation index, however, despite that bounce, is why I'm telling you that we are going to continue to be having weakness in the market despite these bounces. We just crossed over the 50-day moving average. Signal is fully negative, and it's not divergent anymore. I think really at the very least the target is negative 150 before we mount a really significant bounce. So it's going to be very choppy this week that's coming up. MACD is basically signaling continued pressure downward, and the histogram is telling you the same thing. Relief bounce will be short-lived, but it doesn't mean we can't bounce for a week or two. But you got to use that opportunity to either short on a shorter time, not short, but go long on a shorter time frame, or basically build your longer-term short positions when the options premiums become very, very cheap. Okay, right now options premiums are super expensive as a result. Okay, so U.S. dollar weakness continues to show that the stock market will continue to move forward. Okay, so let's look at this real quick, and we'll move forward. Okay, so what we're talking about right now is, we're looking at the U.S. dollar. And so RSI continues to remain negative. We peaked right here at the end of February, and we continue to go down. All this is basically doing right now is that we're forming a bear flag formation here, and a little flagging formation. And we may just move up a little bit, but the actual move will be continued downward. And this is super negative for the stock market. All right, MACD's showing some form of a relief bounce coming also for the U.S. dollar, and I think it can move a little bit higher as long as we stay below 104.50. This whole dollar crash scenario remains intact. CCI is negative. PPO ADX is showing you that there is a little bit of a bounce coming. Right, this is bullish formation. It doesn't mean it's going to bounce right away. Now it could basically start forming this type. Okay. Start moving this way and then start moving down. Okay, that definitely could be the case. But regardless, U.S. dollar continues to be in a bearish trend. And when you look at all the indicators, I believe the real next target is to the bottom of this 103.50. If we lose that, it then down bottom channel of this Bollinger Band. And, we basically need to make sure that this is happening down into the 102.50. This is the line in the sand, folks. Otherwise, we're starting to go into this next level of volatility zone into the 100.25 level. and that is coming, folks. All right, so we're looking at the 30-year C-bond, U.S. Treasury bond. Nothing needs to be said here. I mean, it's basically there's no momentum. It's coming down, basically making lower highs, following this trend line. And now, basically, this right here is the line in the sand. And so, basically, I think that's trend line. It's going to steepen, and I think we're going to start continuing to fall until we hit this bottom of these 50-day SMA, which is the blue line right here. If that fails, folks, we're going straight down, targeting right into the 111. That will be catastrophic for the Fed. Okay, and I think that is coming. 10-year yield, same stuff. Okay, 10-year yield, basically, this is the TNX, and I always harp on this, okay, has been having bullish momentum. We've been moving higher. Now we're stalling out. We got some red candle, bearish engulfing, and then we got this black candle. Can we move a little bit higher? Yeah, I mean, we're resolving things right here, right? But once we start seeing the divergence form there, you got to make sure you understand that we have to make sure that, the move down it's not going to happen, right? Because once it hits here, okay, this is the line in the sand. It needs to move higher if you think the market is going lower. Did that make sense? I hope I didn't butcher that up. So mainly right now, we see that the MACD is higher, so we're going higher. This is negative for the banks. I know they got a little bit of a rescue. Okay, the Fed can still try to manipulate things, and since the CR was passed in the Senate, so then Chuck Schumer caved, and he basically passed a spending bill, which I don't really understand, because if you really think about it, you have Elon Musk and Doge trying to cut costs, and yet they're raising the debt ceiling through September, $2.75 trillion. So how is that going to work by getting into more debt when you're trying to cut that? This is why the TNX is rising. It is highly inflationary what they're doing. Okay, even though Trump's administration, okay, I'm all for Trump. Okay, I want him to succeed, but you can't come out and harp on a little bit of a blip on a CPI and PPI data and say that inflation is getting better. It's not getting better if you continue to print money, okay, and get into debt. Okay, so this whole chart here's our MACD bullish, okay, CCI bullish, okay, stochastics bullish, all right. And even this, I mean, when you have the pinch like this, that is super bullish. I mean, this is negative for the U.S. government, for the banks, and for the stock market. Okay, let's talk about our nice silver here. Silver continues to, frustrate people at times, but you know what? We got this nice momentum on the RSI. Strength is good. We broke out of this upper channel finally. Okay, we hit this right below 35. Like I said, we need to hit above 35 and then get above 37, and it's going to be lights out into the 42-45 region. Okay, and why am I bullish on silver when it hasn't done anything? And everybody says, well, there's so much naked shorts. That's coming to an end, folks. All right, and this chart is telling you that the MACD is crossing higher. We got the histogram that is beginning to make bullishness, and then commodity channel index is an early warning system. We are bullish. I mean, it's basically diverging higher. All right, PPO ADX. I mean, this is a very bullish sign next to the crush indicator. This is upward facing cup, right? And so that is telling you more momentum is coming in. Gold, obviously, nothing needs to be said. Gold is telling you something, right? We're making higher lows. RSI is basically making, it's been on a downward trajectory, but we may break above here, and we may start breaking up into a higher momentum. Okay, we've got this nice little MACD that is trending. All right, how could you not be a gold bull? Now, gold being bullish is negative for the stock market. It's telling you that there's some dislocation headed our way. Everything is bullish at this point. We got this negative divergence that is now being worked out from this bullish stochastic cross. All right. And then we've got this PPO ADX upward facing cup right here. Same thing. When you see that, that is bullish, folks. All right. And then, of course, we're channeling higher in the accumulation distribution. It's a beautiful line. And then, of course, we have ATR expansion from its trend. So that means that I wouldn't be surprised if we start hitting 3,100 this week, sometime this week. Okay, so keep that in mind. Let's go into Dow. Okay, the Dow is a freaking mess, and I wanted to do this basically, um, real live. I wanted to mark this up. Realistically, from the top, we have basically declining RSI no matter what. Even though we had this little blip, it doesn't really matter. Okay, and so this little blip can possibly take us into this 200-day moving average, and I believe that can happen. Pop over and then come down. It just gives the shorts that are patient more meat to short the rip. Okay, we talked about this already, so I'm going to move that. And then let's go into SPY daily. So what's happening here on the daily? So we broke down from here. Here's the downward trend. Okay, and we've had continue to have negative divergence, right? But we broke above here, so I think we're going to probably test a little bit higher into that region. So that means that as far as the stock market's concerned, here's our kind of the phasic trend lines. Okay, from here we had this type of an action, and so we broke out above here. So I think we're really targeting is that this ADMA up to this line in the sand. What is that line in the sand? What does this red dotted mean? Line 572 is really the line in the sand for this next up move. Okay, if it comes here and it stalls out, so you can presumably, if you made a ton of money last week, put on a long position from this 562 for like about a 12-point higher, or 120 to 130 points higher in the ES. I don't think we go much higher than that. And the reason is MACD is clearly negative. Yes, we're showing some relief bounce that's happening, and it's too early to tell if this bullish hook is coming, but it's coming at -10. Even if they go to -5, and it has a high likelihood of failing. Okay, so that's what we got. Yeah, the CCI, Commodity Channel Index, has been telling for a while that we're going to have some bullish moves. So we can probably try to poke up to 0. Maybe if it gets really impulsive, down up to 100 and then pull back. And I still believe that's a shorting opportunity. Okay. The reason why I think that we're going to bounce is that PPO ADX here is pinching, meaning that this is the crush formation. So yeah, we're going to have a pretty powerful bounce, but that bounce will not last. Okay, you short those rips, and if you really want to look at that, this is pretty powerful. We have some opportunities to go long here. Okay, so let's move on to SPY for the weekly. Weekly is telling a little bit of a different story than the daily, right? Weekly is basically, it's bad. Okay, from the top, we have negative divergence. We broke down from the rising wedge. We found support right here into this 562, ish, 552 level. Okay, and so this is a bounce. We're hitting right up onto the bottom end of the Bollinger Band. Can we go up into the ADMA? Sure. Okay, and that gives you a nice 18 to 20 point rise on the weekly for this week. Okay, now if we start getting above this level, okay, yeah, then this rally, this crash is over. Right, but I don't think we've gone impulsive. There was no capitulation moment. It's just a slow grinding market. Therefore, you take advantage of these rips, and you got to short them, because once we fail here, it's not going to stop until we get to 520 to 510, and I'm not even sure if it stops there. But these are the levels that we're looking at hitting if things become super impulsive. Okay, now let's see where we are since Fed announced their rate cut nonsense. Okay, we're at 562.81. We're right at this inflection line. We broke through. There should be support here, so we may pop above a little. But if we start losing it, we're now going to be in a situation where we're going to hit this 510 level. Okay, Fed cutting rates. That language, remember that? Everybody said, "Oh, the bull market's here." Apple is also telling you we're in serious trouble. RSI is negative. We've entered into that volatility zone. It may pop right into, if we get a relief rally, if maybe 222, we're going to basically start taking out this 200 shortly in the next couple of weeks. I would not be surprised if we break this yellow trend line for us to start looking at this 174.74 level, I mean, it's bearish. I mean, MACD is just taken out. Remember, Apple is being used to support the market. Market is a SPY. So no matter what, look at what Apple's doing, and it'll tell you exactly what SPY is going to do. If Apple continues to remain bearish and weak, okay, SPY will follow shortly. SMCI, gift that keeps on giving, and it basically went up into this, the 100-day moving average, failed, and then failed off of the 10-day moving average. Okay, so if we get a little relief rally, can we get up to 51? Maybe. I doubt it. I think we're going to chop right at these levels and then finally break this, short-term uptrend line. Now we're going to start getting into the 30s, start targeting this 200-day moving average, and then really challenge it at this level. Realistically, if you look at it, really it's a classic double top formation, right? And that's all that is. Okay, if you really want to know, I mean, if you really want to make a case for it, here's your head, and then here's our shoulders to the left. And so maybe it can come up a little bit, but the ultimate target is below 15. I think this is like a literally $5 stock. Okay, Adobe did a great in the group, earnings play, and Adobe is telling you that the companies are not healthy, like they're talking about. Okay, we hit that our secondary target into the 372 level, and we bounced. Yes, it's right above this support level, so it's going to try to find support up here. But if this breaks in the next week or so, we have a play all the way down into this region right here. Okay, 330. All right, just got to be patient with this. Okay, it literally fell almost 20%, and so it's going to try to rebound. Okay, now coming up, though, one thing that I really want to talk about is two stocks. Our two stocks, not is, but our two stocks. FedEx is continuing being weak. I don't believe that there is any relief in sight for this double top formation. It basically has broken this uptrend line. We're now firmly broken on this uptrend line. We're coming down. Here's a 200-day moving average. If it fails there after earnings, we can be seeing FedEx right down at the 200 level. Okay, not financial advice, but you do your own research. We're looking at FedEx. Okay, the other one is Pinduoduo. Okay, again, RSI tells you everything you need to know in the short term. Rising triangle. Okay, we topped right here. Like I said, the volume is weakening. The buy volume is anemic. The biggest volumes are all on the sell side, including here. Okay, so we can report earnings, pop into the earnings, or pop after the earnings and then drop. This 200-day moving average is big enough. Okay, 93.58. That's a 20-30 point. It's worth looking into. Okay, so that's what I have for this technical analysis. And then U.S. dollar continues to be weak. Okay, we talked about this last week. SPY broke the uptrend line. We talked about that before. Okay, and I showed you the up. Let's look at what's going on with Bitcoin and XRP and XDC. We already know that SEC is super interested in formulating Bitcoin and XDC. So Bitcoin is beta test coin. XRP is a real world reserve currency. Okay, announcement coming soon. SEC is hinting at that. XDC is the real world tokenization. Right now, currently, right, we've had a massive sell-off correction, right? I mean, especially Bitcoin. We're at 82,000. It's been flirting at the 77,000. Poor Michael Saylor, right? Biggest fraud in the world, okay, right now. Anyways, what we got is, we're going to chop around these levels. Also, all the cryptocurrency weakness on Sunday is telling you that whatever relief rally we had is going to be short-lived, so be prepared to short the rips. I think it has some legs, but we'll see how market opens up. But the cryptocurrencies are currently telling you that there's some more weaknesses coming our way. Okay, so that's what we have. So when we look at XDC, it's the same thing. I mean, XDC is trying to find the bottom at this point, right? And this is a buying opportunity, right? Maybe we go a little bit lower down into this area, okay? That's a buying opportunity. And I believe XDC can hit 25 to 100 bucks in the next couple of years, all right? Bitcoin, poor Michael Saylor. Those of you who bought MicroStrategy are regretting it, right? I mean, he did this in 1999, right? During he ushered in the dot-com crash. So, in a nutshell, gold is at historic highs. It's telling you something. 3017 it pulled back. Okay. Silver's fighting naked shorting, but it's beginning to break out. It almost broke out above 35 before being slammed, but the gold and silver slam crew cannot bring this thing down. Where they really want silver is below 31, right? Where they really want gold is like anything, whatever they can do to get it below 2,700, they will not. XRP is getting the blueprint from SEC for the assets as a commodity and for reserve currency status. Lawsuits still not dropped, which means price suppression is continuing. That means that the big boys have not added and they don't want retail in this. Slow grinding crash may take a breather for a week or two. Okay, maybe it's sooner. Okay, but that's what it's saying. Although the cryptos are showing that there's weakness coming, it usually kind of warns you something is brewing here. All right, you never know these days. Okay, U.S. Treasuries are under pressure. Okay, who's buying our U.S. debts? Right, I think they were funneling stuff through USAID, and I've always wondered how they were doing it. I knew we were printing money. But I wanted to know how the Federal Reserve Bank, a private non-U.S. government bank, a for-profit institution for that, with no accountability, is able to issue interest rate policies and print bonds. Isn't that the Treasury's job? Russia, France, Ukraine, oh boy, they want war. Britain wants war, right? I think the only country that speaking about peace, although, with the attack on Yemen, yes, it's a retaliation against Houthis' missile strike in the Suez Canal and the Black Sea, I guess. But, it's just ridiculous. Okay. So bottom line is gold hits all-time high of 3017. U.S. bonds under pressure. The Fed has lost all credibility, if they ever had it. The most corrupt entity, I believe, out there. Gold at all-time highs and silver's breaking out. France becomes warlike, right? Nuclear sub in Canada. I mean, it's like optics are clearer than what they talk about. They're like two-faced. Crypto's under pressure, but recovering. Okay, but XRP is the focus for the SEC. Okay, they're saying it's a commodity. It's basically a reserve asset. Okay, long gold, silver, XRP, VIX. All right, buy the dips. Short watches, SMCI, Apple, Adobe, Nike. Okay, Adobe was a whopper of a trade, folks. Nike is reporting earnings. I just don't see how globally consumers. This is a consumer demand destruction play. Williams-Sonoma, consumer demand destruction. Let's see if it caught up to them. FedEx, shipping volume is down, and I continue to think that it will be down. Pinduoduo, Chinese play. Okay, watch for a bounce. Okay, ahead of the earnings, and if it stalls out, I may do a video on that later. There is a relief bounce ahead. How long it lasts, I don't know. I mean, but judging by the way the cryptos are behaving, probably not long. Listen to what the gold market is telling you, that there is a major dislocation headed our way. Okay, thanks for watching. Follow me at Galaxy.market. I'm really trying to transition into X.com only. I don't think YouTube's treating me fairly. Okay, like us, share us, above all, comment good and bad, and subscribe and follow me. Okay, and then if you want to learn more about working with me, because this is a tough market, email me. That's the way you do it, or you DM me on WhatsApp. Go to my website. Okay, it's on the description below, and schedule a consultation. Okay, that's all it takes. All right, and let's get some alpha. Be careful out there. All right, just don't trust the media. You need to do your own thinking. Okay, all right. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.